right, welcome to Council Chat this week. We have Councilmember Jeff Blubaugh here.
Yep.
Thanks for coming. I think this is your first videoed one,
I think
right?
it is. I think it is, but it's something we've done for a couple of years, and just always looking for opportunities to communicate with our constituents. Not everybody can tune in at a city council meeting, so I like to see something in this format that's out there on social media that you can do at your convenience, because people want to stay in touch, but they don't want to necessarily do it on our watch, so let them do it at their own convenience.
Yeah, well, this was your idea, and I think it's really great. And, I'm just going to say it, council meetings aren't the most interesting thing unless you're like a government worker, so it's a good chance to see high-level information.
From the bench, we'll spot a sleeper every now and then.
I believe it. So, all right, well, we have some interesting things coming up, and you guys had an En Banc meeting with the county today. Could you tell us a little bit about what you guys talked about?
We talked about mental health, big issue, not just here, but nationwide, and trying to find, resources. What's the right mix for, we see so much crime in our city that's related to mental health. It's the time that we're in. I think COVID's got a lot to do with it, because people have been pinned down. They haven't lived their life as usual, and I can speak for one, spending too much time at home with the family can kind of get the people at some time. We're not out living our normal lives. A lot of stress out there. Inflation, I'm sure money's getting tight at the end of the month. All these are contributors, but I particularly, since a lot of the area I represent is down south, I know that we talk to the police regularly on the mental health calls, and it's just going through the roof, and we've just got to match up resources with where we have our problem areas, and to make sure that people can get what they need. We've been discussing this for several years. It's been years since we've had the mental health hospitals like they used to, and I think we need to bring that back in some sort of fashion.
I think we were looking yesterday at, I think it was 1981, the mental health bill was repealed, and then we saw a strong uptick in crime, and there's just no easy solutions to
not to date myself, but I remember in high school we had the charter hospitals that I think were a part of Via Christi, and those were good to help people out, and you just don't hear about those type of resources now. And a big driver to homelessness, to other crimes, sometimes violent, and it all roots back to mental health. So hopefully we're coming up with a direction. It is nice working with the county, because this isn't just a city issue. This is the entire area. So hopefully we can start coming up with some ideas that work and get people help.
Yeah, it's I was listening this morning, and mental health is the purview of the county, but we obviously support it in multiple ways, like through ICT 1. Our police officers are usually the first line of defense for mental health, which is unfortunate. But one of the providers said something this morning that was surprising to me, and they urged people not to give money, but to direct people to resources. Yep. And I thought that was really surprising.
That's the same thing. I've had a close connection with the homeless outreach team for quite a while, and they've always said, giving money to the homeless is the absolute worst thing you can do. Yeah. You want to direct them toward resources. Yeah,
that was really surprising, and something I think is hard to communicate, because people have really good intentions, and I've done it. I've given money or food and things, and just learning that if we truly want, as just residents, want to help that issue, we should direct our time, talent, and treasure to those nonprofits and those community resources. So,
it's a new year. We've got a couple new council members, and I can say for myself, I'm pretty excited. It's always good to have new people coming in and out, and a lot of new ideas. And specifically, me representing District 4, and the other council members, Maggie Ballard representing District 6, and Mike Hoheisel representing District 3, we all have a lot of common neighborhood issues, so it's kind of nice whenever we can team up and try to address those. I know for one thing that it's been an issue for me for years and years is 60-some miles of dirt roads I have in my district, and unfortunately a lot of them are in low-income areas, and you're never really going to see the neighborhood sign a petition, an agreement with. Normally you'd sign a petition of up to 50% of the people, and everybody would pay for it. Well, hopefully we can find some way that'll help take care of that. I've thrown out the idea about a TIF, which is tax increment financing, to where could we use their property taxes toward that or something. So Monday, we're going on a tour. Again, myself, Councilmember Ballard, and Councilmember Hoheisel, and our assistants. We're going to drive around in a city van, and we're spending all afternoon, and we're going to tour each of our districts. Now, this is something I did years ago, I believe, when Councilmember Claycomb first started, because it's important for us all to, we all represent the city, even though we're only elected by district. It's so important that we understand everyone else's district as well. And I like to see the areas of improvement. Years ago, whenever they kicked off the Block 1 downtown, where you just get one area and change that block. I know as a real estate investor, sometimes I look at properties street by street, not necessarily area to where you want to be on a good street. Well, I'm hoping that one of my kind of big ideas is we each have like a Block 1 in our district, and we make considerable change in that block, and then hopefully it's like a catalyst, and we can start changing some of the areas that normally would just be neglected or blighted.
That's really interesting, and sounds like something really great to focus on. I know the city spends $78,000 annually just on dust abatement, and that's not even for all of the dirt streets, so could be some long-term cost savings.
And I hear that so much from constituents. They're like, well, it's not free to come out here and grade our road every time, or they're washboard roads, and it really is cheaper doing it, but I don't think that's the best solution. And one thing I've talked about with the city manager and engineering is maybe we get away from curb and gutter in some of these areas, and we just pave the street and make sure the ditch is good, and it saves us a tremendous amount of money, and it eliminates the dust. And I think it can be a win-win situation in some of those neighborhoods.
Yeah, really interesting topics, and probably very impactful to the people living on those dirt roads. So very interesting. So next week, I know you guys are looking at a variety of things, including ARPA funds, golf managed services. So
ARPA funds are a great thing. It gives us the one-time opportunity. I don't see this continuing, but we can hopefully put those into good investments for the city that hopefully whenever the money runs out, it doesn't catch us up where we don't have the resources to support this anymore. Golf, I think there'll be a little bit of controversy on that. There's a lot of people that like the city management, that like their golf pro, that like the way things are done, and a lot of people really love the idea of Kemper, I believe is the company they're looking at. They like the idea of them coming in. So I think you're going to hear a lot of opinions on Tuesday. I'm not a golfer. I probably play a scramble a year, so I'm really not the subject matter expert to say who should be managing our courses or what, but I'm certainly listening as well as the rest of council is.
Well, it's been interesting to see how many people have gotten involved in that topic, and it's nice to see wherever they stand, all the citizen engagement on these topics. So we try to make that as easy as possible.
Yep.
So
good thing too, I look at the extended forecast, it looks like it's going to be warmer.
Let's hope.
I think it's going to be 50s, 60s. I think I've seen an almost 80. Welcome to Kansas,
If you don't like the weather, just wait an hour.
Right, absolutely.
Well, the roads were great this morning, and my car really does not do well in the snow. Actually, what I should say is that I do not do well in the snow, more likely, but the roads were great. They were clear, so kudos to our crews.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Well, that's all we've got this week. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks.